welcome. Friday, friends. What's going on? This is a live stream. I will be just hanging out, scrolling through some of my music. Very low in the background. I don't want to get this live stream copyright flagged. The point of the video today, if you're watching this after the fact, is to basically just open up some time to talk with my friends and viewers and discuss anything about the system, anything that's going on in the week. I posed a number of questions throughout the week about content, things that I can do with future videos, things like that. So I want to just talk about some of those ideas and just open up the conversation. Basically, more of a conversational piece on this Friday, just hanging out, listening to music, and just have that discussion. Include my friends the way that I used to include my friends. I don't often do that anymore. Work schedule's been pretty hectic throughout the week and afternoons. There are so many people online with the YouTube crowd, friends of mine and creators that already have shows, and I sort of don't want to divide the audience, but it's very difficult to kind of fit into a time slot when everybody's basically doing the same thing every Monday night or Tuesday night or Friday night. So there's always sort of someone that is going live or is already online. So it's difficult to navigate and pick a time slot so I'm not overlapping over everybody else. Everybody's kind of already doing their thing. So I just want to share this live video out to my friends on Facebook to make sure that people can join. So what we're dealing with the system's all basically the same. I've got my CDs all laid out on the floor there. You can see I had the CD player going earlier in the week, just scrolling through and listening to some new music, some new CDs that I bought. The True Voice of Reason, happy Friday. What's going on, man? I'm going to pour a drink here in a minute. I'm just trying to figure out how to share my live video to Facebook. I can't seem to tune in to my live somehow. That's very weird. So my live is not showing up on my feed, so I can't share the video out while it's live. And I erased the app, or I erased the Facebook app from my other phone, my alternate phone there, so I can't share from there. And because it's live, I'm not going to be able to share it while it's active. So that's funny. Anyways, hopefully people will just tune in and check everything out. Like, I can't play any music in the background, or at least I'll try to find some sort of a copyright playlist. But every time I've done that, for whatever reason, the copyright free music that I've been playing in the background sometimes has other issues. It does get flagged even though it says copyright on the Spotify playlist. So I'm going to try and find something that will be appropriate. I have no idea what's actually going to work, but I'm just going to play whatever's on the list and hopefully it will not give me an issue. Just something to listen to in the background while we're having a chat. It doesn't have to be really anything. So yeah, what's been going on? Let me flip this mess. What's up? This is actually my face. Welcome. I don't actually put my face on camera all that much because these videos are really not about me per se. It's really about the gear and some of the stuff that we have going on with life. So I don't want to always have my face on camera. I don't like doing talking videos. But we're going to have a drink. Enjoy yourself tonight and enjoy your Friday and everything that's going on with your systems. Let me know in the chat what you have going on for audio system right now. Um, I love hearing about what people have decided, how they like what video you saw that made you select the latest thing that you purchased. Any speakers you've heard at a show, who was, like what rooms or what kind of experiences inspired your last purchase. um, Things that you haven't decided on yet. Maybe there's a wish list and you want to know more about that stuff. I'd love to hear about some of that. True Voice of Reason, sitting in front of the computer working but listening via phone. That's cool. Cheers to my friends. I see 12 people out there. That's nice. So yeah, anything that any recent gear or video or photos or advertisements or marketing, like what's in the news that we heard about or you heard about that made you interested in anything new, or maybe something that's existing in the system that you've heard something and then you'd like to change it up a little bit. I do these lives basically because I want to have a conversation with the community, not that I have constant new stuff to talk about. What is that? The one and only Nicole. Do you like golden showers? May I take? It's funny. Only if it's this. And this one is actually the white pineapple's actually like from the reserve sort of like release. It's less sugar, but still real sugar. So it's not quite diet, but it's a third of the sugar that's in these cans normally. So I don't know. If you're really serious about that statement, you're going to have to figure it out another way. Definitely can't do that on this channel. I don't have the ability to partake in such activities where this is an audio channel. If you scroll and find my other channels, then maybe we can figure it out. I wish I had mods in here that can control the channels and chat. That would be actually cool, because then I could stream and I wouldn't have to worry about stuff. I'll have to figure that out later. So let me see. Is there chat rules, community moderation, participant mode, anyone, message delay, none, blocked words, nope. Okay, well I can't select a mod, so that's okay. I wish I had some speakers to show in the background, but I really don't. I could probably bring the SVS model in here and talk about that. 14 people out there watching. If you want to see SVS, just type SVS. Come on, let me see it. I wish I could share this to my Facebook, because my Facebook friends are not going to have any idea. Let me see if I can just share my whole channel. So anything new, any audio, any headphones, what, like, does your TV sound like shit? I just want to, I want to get out there and have this conversation and talk to my friends. And there we go. I see this live. Let me see if I can share it. There we go. There we go. Now I've shared it. There's me in real time. Thank you, my friends. Always a like and share on any of the videos if anything that I have to talk about is actually cool. My phone is currently charging right now, so if you'll forgive me and just placing a static image on here while I run to grab the bookshelf speaker, then we can talk about that. That's what I will do. So pardon my fingers. I'll run this. Can I zoom out more? No. Zoom out. There we go. That's the reason the phone is not a great audio communicator. It interrupts everything. Audio communication interrupts everything. Does it? Is it actually cutting out, or when you're watching it back on the phone, it cuts everything out? I wish I could have other people on here while I'm chatting. I don't know if I can actually share my stream on like direct from YouTube or not. I think if other people have their channels, then I can go live with them, but I haven't seen that option. Okay, forgive me for 1 minute. I am gonna go grab the bookshelf. So in chat, just type in, I'm going to get the bookshelves. I'll bring it over here so we can get a very close-up look at it. All right, I'm back. Didn't even take that long. Let's do this. And then this. Yeah. So, the SVS Ultra Evolution bookshelf. What can I say that Barrett, Spec of Tech, Nemo Propaganda just had these in-house. I'm pretty sure that Randy has had these, Cheap Audio Man. I'm not sure if Aaron's measured them yet. Who else? I'm pretty sure Youth Man probably had some at some point. Who else? I think that a lot of other people have had these run through their systems. I don't have them plugged in. They were in the room earlier. I could probably play something, but I'd have to flip to the CD. So if I'm going to do sound demos, which I already have, I just have to edit those videos. So the reason why I'm doing a live video is so that I can connect with the audience to say, yes, I'm still editing the 4-way split video. It's SVS versus Monolith versus Kanto, and I have two different models of Monolith speaker. So it'll be the bookshelf, versus another bookshelf versus another bookshelf versus a like mini monitor sort of thing. So that's the intended 4-way split. They're all stand mounts with the subwoofers you guys saw. There's an SB1000 subwoofers in the front. So what could we say about these speakers? The big takeaway is the tweeter. The tweeter's definitely something new, something improved over the previous model. I can't say much for the woofer. I think the woofer's relatively the same. I think that it's a pretty good build quality. I haven't seen anything behind it. I'm not going to take it out of the cabinet in order to see that. I wish that I could, but I don't want to risk it. The tweeter's a very solid build. This is it's mounted very well. All of the build quality on the speakers is really great. The same as the subs. These are a really good finish. Very smooth. You don't see any kind of like rippling. Like check my reflection. It's pretty smooth. Like it's a uniformed look. You can't tell I'm even turning the cabinet. It's very good. See? There's no orange peel. There's nothing like that. They're really good. Also, the binding posts, pretty good binding posts. Pretty solid. I don't like that they are like stuck in like this. I mean, it's 2024. Could we get over this shit? We don't need this anymore. Just have them sticking out of the back and people can deal with it. It's not like they're going to go right up against a wall or you're going to mount them anyways. It's not possible. I will say, though, the back of the cabinet is actually angled, too. So that I found interesting. I wasn't sure why they would do that, why you would actually curve the back of the cabinet as well, but I guess it kind of makes sense. You can make equal length pieces of wood when you're establishing it. So here's something I want to say about the pricing. what are they, 1200, 1500 US, probably even less now. The July 4th sale just went on. It was pretty awesome. um what I can say about the sale prices and the fact that this has got so many different angles in the cabinet, plus the upgraded tweeter, I think that this is a very, very, very good value speaker. Even if, like, for my tastes, if I'm not completely satisfied with the way they sound versus other things, I still think that what they've done with it is a very, very high value proposition. The fact that the cabinet's got so many angles in it, it's built solid. The cost of the cabinetry alone has got to be crazy, because to put a box together with that much work, the angles of the front are all chamfered too. Like, that's a lot of angles. Even in that little, like, if you work with wood at all, you can tell, like, that takes a lot of work. That is not easy to do. And to assemble a cabinet with that much attention to angles and details, it's really impressive. Oh, now we have a PSB speaker. Hello. You probably could do this if it was, like, mounted a certain way, but I don't know why you would. But yeah, the tweeter's definitely a game changer in terms of their upgrade. Now, I haven't heard the original one, so if you have the original SVS Ultras, I don't know how much of a difference this is going to be. I do think the tweeter is worth it, and that depends on what you can hear, whether you're sensitive to, like, high frequencies, if you like a certain characteristic or a sound in the audio and you want that extra refinement, then you can, sell, trade up, whatever it is for this version, because you're going to get better performance out of the tweeter. There's more air and clarity in it. And this is only speaking from the fact that I've never heard the other series. I am going off of a lot of what other people have said. And like I said, I don't know that Amir or Aaron have measured these. I'm still waiting to see that data to see if what I think of the impression in my space matches what measures. I did see the Pinnacle review. Aaron's Audio Corner, he measured the Pinnacle towers at great peril, apparently. Broke one of the loading ladders, which is pretty sad. So go check out his channel, show some love there for all the hard work that he does. And I did see what looked like a mid-bass drop, like right in the lower mid-range, sort of upper mid-bass kind of area. And that's something I noticed about these were a bit thin compared to my Arundel Towers. But, I mean, with the Arundel Towers, you're looking at 4 8-inch drivers, so it's not really a fair comparison. To have the SVS stacked up against that much cone area, sort of not fair. I mean, look at this. It's not, like, that's not even, the woofer size versus the others is, it's a massive difference. Now, I put it on the subwoofer, but I don't want to damage the surface. Oh, it's warm to be carrying all this stuff around. Thank you for the 2 likes on the stream. The 19, 20, 25 people I've seen in here. Thank you very much. Yeah, that's all I have to say really about the SVS. It's a really good quality bookshelf. I've enjoyed the clarity of them. Like, if I didn't have a comparison, if I didn't have my towers and I wasn't A/B comparing a lot of things, such is the way of audio and experience and reference, I think that depending on your reference, you can get used to a sound, you can appreciate a sound without comparing it to everything else. And they say that comparison, what is that? There's a phrase, comparison is the destroyer of joy or something like that, where if you don't compare yourself to other people, and you look online and you see how much stuff like everybody has, and sure, I have a big audio system and amps and speakers, and like if we're always looking at each other for stuff like this, and the same thing with audio, if you're always looking at other products or listening to other products and you're always comparing, and I realize that we do that because we want to achieve the best value possible for either their money or our effort, or we want to know what the best of the best is based on our taste, our experience, the best deals. We always compare to make decisions in terms of this advantage. But at the same time, I really think that if you're achieving a certain price point and a value at that price point, that, what do they call, fear of missing out, not really a thing. You're not missing out on a whole lot. Like, so Stop the FOMO's a channel, and he talks a lot about TVs and video, where I agree with that phrase to say stop the fear of missing out, because like, are you really missing out on a lot? Are you comparing apples to apples for the sake of product? Like, is that consumer mentality and marketing schemes and phrases and words, and they use a lot of word salad to talk about stuff like this. Like, they call it some sort of organic lattice something whatever over the tweeter. Like, look at that. Sure, I agree that looks really pretty, but I mean, like, how much of a difference does that really make? Could you suspend that little circle there without all that? And to put organic in front of everything these days, it's just like organic diet just means what? It grew in the ground? I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that SVS has, they have fooled people, because that's not true. What I'm saying is, as a matter of comparison, when we are looking forward or looking against what we already have, this car versus that car, this property versus that property, there are some really truly advantageous details, characteristics, traits that we want to know and identify. But then sometimes there really isn't that much difference. Sometimes it is just another package with another name, with another suffix or another prefix. What are you really getting is what I want to emphasize in the difference. Now, I can't speak to the differences here because I never heard the original, and I don't have two pairs to compare side by side. All I have is this and the other speakers that I compared to. So the 4-way demo is coming, and I will post that to my channel in a short while. So forgive me, I'm going to flip the camera around, I'm going to run this back to the other room, and then I will join you in just a second. You can't not appreciate that view. This pair side by side is really nice. I never did get Arundel to send subs out to me, so maybe in the future, maybe once their new stuff shows up. So is anybody excited about the new Arundel stuff? Let me know. Put it in the chat. I have an interesting topic. Sorry for leaving the stream like that. I didn't mean to have like a blank stream there. So I have an interesting topic that I want to bring up, and someone brought it up the other day. I don't remember what channel it is. Someone did, and I think it was about break-in. Someone was talking about speaker break-in, subwoofer break-in stuff. Oh, Nemo Propaganda brought this up, and he was talking about The new Buchart Audio has a new, I think it's a 10-inch woofer. It's very narrow, very tall, not tall, but relatively tall. So it's taller and shallower with appropriate width. And he had it on the channel, and he had a couple of speakers with it, and he just did like an initial impressions video of that. So check that out. Nemo Propaganda for Buchart Audio subs. Not a full review, but he brought up the topic of woofer break-in. I want to talk about woofer break-in with people, and I'm going to use some props, which means I'm going to have to walk away from the camera again. I don't have everything in front of me, and my camera's still charging, so I want to see. I'm at 54%. So yeah, maybe I can bring the camera with me, but everything out there is really dark, so it's not like we're really going to see anything. And I have a feeling that these props are going to be a little bit dirty, so I'm not really sure if I want to bring them on camera. I have other options. Maybe I'll bring the other options in. Yeah, I think I can do that. I can bring in the other options. So the idea of speaker break-in, I want to try and describe with visuals why it's important. So forgive me, give me one more minute. I'm going to run out and grab some stuff to show off on camera. And I want to discuss and talk about, and put in the chat if anybody can chat, if you're watching either on a TV or somewhere where you can't leave a comment or hit like or anything like that. I understand, that's fully acceptable. Remember the name if you were here for the first time. I appreciate that. Come back again or subscribe so you know when I'm live the next time. Only if you appreciate it. I don't mean to ask for subscribers or attention for something that you don't know if it's valuable. If this is the first time here and you don't know me and why I have a mirror in front of my system like that, and you can see my feet, but you can still kind of see my hands. That's how I talk and express myself. Body language is a huge part of what we do, and that's why I have the mirror there. It's not for any other reason. So anyways, give me a second. I will be right back with a prop to showcase why I think subwoofers, especially subwoofer break-in, is a good thing. I'll show you what I mean in just a second. Okay, so I am back, and we're going to talk about the reason why I think subwoofer break-in is not a myth. It's not bullshit. There's a reason. There's a valid reason why we need to do some sort of exercising with woofers, especially woofers more so than in like something like tweeters or mid-ranges. So it's a little bit of show and tell here, not to be confused with Joe and Tell, even though my name is actually Joe. So we have a speaker. I don't think this actually has a name on it, so we're safe. Nobody's going to recognize what it is. If you do recognize what it is, I dare you to put it in the chat. I think that only one person is actually going to know what it is based on what it looks like and the fact that I have it in my hands in the first place. So this is the way that most speakers look. They're designed with a basket, a magnet. They have a top plate, back plate. There's a pole piece that goes through the middle. You have to look up driver anatomy or whatever online. Underneath, you can see that there's an orange piece right here. This is what they call a spider. I don't know why it's called a spider. Basically because I guess it holds everything in like a centralized way. The spider webs have this like circular pattern. This has a circular pattern. And then inside you can see that there's like a cardboard fitting ring, and then the aluminum fits against that ring, and then inside is the coil. That's where the leads are attached right here. So this is leads attached to the coil, and this whole thing moves up and down. Well, my hands are moving too, so it's hard to, but the whole thing moves up and down. You can see that? Okay, so have you ever bought a pair of shoes leather boots, a leather belt, underwear, a bra. I mean, I think that all 25 people watching are male. I wouldn't know because you guys are not chatting. What are you so afraid of? People are going to see what you write. Just write something. I don't even care if it's the word something. Put something in the chat. God, stop being so shy. So anyways, I have to say something controversial like the earth is flat. Are you going to try and correct me? Is that what it takes now? You have to be triggered before you say anything? So anyways, the suspension moves back and forth with the voltage. So if the voltage is positive, it moves out. If it's negative, it moves in. I think that's the way that almost all speakers are wired, positive and negative. So it moves in and out. When it moves, it compresses. I'm pushing on the center here, so I'm not rubbing the coil. So as it moves, it pushes and compresses that material. It's got these grooves in it so it can flex easier. If it was flat, then it would be pulled tight like a piece of paper. So it's got these accordion type of ridges so that it can move back and forth, but it maintains its structure because it is like an elastic. It's usually like a compressed fiber Nomex kind of material, so it maintains its rigidity. However, and if you know anything about driver technology, there's what they call like a Q factor or a compliance factor. Some of it is electrical, some of it is the air volume, some of it is mechanical. Mechanical meaning how tight the combination of this spider is and the rubber surround. This rubber surround acts the same way like a baseball glove or winter gloves or anything that is a physical material that you wear. You can tell over time is the critical point that I need to make about break-in and people who say it's bullshit. I say, have you ever put on a pair of underwear for the first time and you're like, oh God, you know, baseball glove, a hat, a jacket, t-shirts, anything over time, it starts to, what is the word? Break in. Okay? It's a fact. It is a fact of material. Everything that we use breaks down over time. The critical point of this topic is what happens sound-wise when it breaks down. Well, the answer is when the mechanical factor of the woofer is less tense or otherwise more free to move, what happens is instead of it being rigid and tight, and if you have ever, I don't know how to demonstrate half of this shit while I'm talking, but if you've ever had a ruler on a desk and you like tap the ruler, it vibrates, whatever. But if you tap the ruler and pull it closer to the desk, what happens to the tone? The tone, I will tell you, because you're probably not going to do it. Friday business, you guys have something better to do. The tone goes up because not only because you're making the ruler shorter, but the tension on the ruler's compliance, the movement gets tighter because there's less of it to move, right? Okay, so in the speaker, when the spider material, the glue, like all the stuff that's used to hold it together, you guys can see that in there, right? You can see underneath this this basket is actually open. You can see that there's vent holes in the coil. You see that? It's a pretty well designed basket, even though this is plastic. So anyways, when it flexes like this, it stretches out the rubber. It like wears on the material just a little bit. And what happens is the FS, or the free air resonance, or the ability for the woofer to play lower, it improves. I guess I'm going to say improves because we think the lower the better. But that's not necessarily better. It's just a fact of how it works. When you play the woofers over and over and over and over for that first little while, the materials start to stretch and flex into their resting position. So the same way like leather shoes, leather boots, work boots, baseball glove. You work a hat. You ever bought a baseball hat and you work the hat into a shape? It starts to take the shape of your head. The more you wear it, it breaks in. There's this idea of break-in is totally relevant to fucking everything else in the world, but somehow audiophiles say that it's bullshit when it comes to audio. And I don't understand how people can stand on those grounds and make arguments like that in comment sections when the rest of the world seems to say, hey, fucker, this is actually a thing. This really happens to everything else. The discs in your brakes, the like everything in the car. What happens when you start the car in the cold? It needs to what? Warm up. Like everything else about reality in terms of material science would tell us that yes, things have a thermodynamic range and they do change when they heat up or they're in use. So the mechanical compliance of a driver changes over time from when it was, at the factory. Now, there is a caveat, and people are going to come for me in the comments afterwards and be like, that's not true. Some of the companies burn it in ahead of time. Well, yeah, some of them do, but not all of them. And if you didn't know that and they didn't state it ahead of time, how would you know that they're actually burned in? I'm going to say a lot of the budget brand stuff, they don't burn it. I know that for all the R&D stuff and the release data from web pages and websites, and I can't believe there's only like that many comments and there's 23 people here. I got to figure out this algorithm. I don't know if I have to like wear a bikini and dance around in a hot tub or something for people to be like, ooh, this is engaging. Sorry, I don't have models to look at. All I have is speakers. It's not as entertaining, but this is what you get. We picked this hobby. I do know that the R&D process, people and labs and engineers will run their speakers and burn them in for a long time and then test them. So each iteration of a driver type or a cabinet type or a whatever, they will run them through the process. They will burn them in overnight. They will bring them in from all their testing facilities, whatever, and then they will do the measurements. So the measurements that you get online are final R&D measurements in labs after the speaker has had an extensive run of hours burning in. They're already burnt in measurements. So when you get fresh speakers, this is part of how I have this speaker, this driver. I've worked at a manufacturer before. I've seen the process with my own eyes. I'm not just blowing smoke in mirrors. I've seen it happen. The drivers get made, they get put onto skids, and they sit waiting to get put into a cabinet. When they go into the cabinet, they're run through a test in a sealed chamber to make sure they meet like standard compliance and response. Then they're stuffed in a box, and then they sit in a warehouse until you order them. Then they travel overseas or wherever through all the thermal changes. Like if you order something that was made in Asia and it's summer there, well, depending on where the equator is, if it's Malaysia or China, chances are North America, China's in the same region. Anyways, if the shipping, whatever, goes through different areas, it's going through thermal flux and change in shipping. So it goes from like winter to summer to winter, and depending on how long it takes, everything changes and moves around. They do that testing in R&D too. They run it through weather testing. They run the packaging through weather testing. They have to, otherwise when you get your products, like I've heard a lot of stuff coming from Europe, from like Andrew Robinson's website, they say that a lot of products, they can't get them in good shape because shipping destroys them on the way. So it's like if you buy them local, then you have a better chance of actually getting product that's in good condition. Either that, or it's a company that does really well with like international shipping, like SVS does well, Arendal does well, but DHL and other shipping and handling services are not that great. um, anyways, so what happened to my live chat? Chat filter, top magic community. Did I lose my chat? That's interesting. It still says I'm live. It says 40 minutes, but I don't see live highlights. Say, oh, I didn't want to do that. Chat filter, computer, all messages. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I didn't even see these messages here. Sorry about that. So I'm seeing the Donkin74 says, does the spider affect the FS of the speaker? Yes, I answered that. I agree. Breaking for physical objects. Yes, no thanks. Talking about speakers is interesting enough. Yeah, I figured. Thank you very much. I'm here. Not sure if you can read. Sorry about that. Chat here. Wait, what? Okay. Holy shit. I don't know why I wasn't seeing this. I'm looking at chat filters, top messages, fan. So anyways, I had to change all of that. My apologies. I didn't see half of that stuff. So yes, the idea of like thermal changes and physical compliance, it really matters. So to go back to the original sort of point of this message, sorry about the chat, guys. I saw messages to begin with, and then I don't know what happened. It just all of a sudden cut off, and then I had to actually turn the comments back on again and put all comments. So now I can see chat. Thank you, True Voice of Reason. And I'm going to say Dockin 74. So no, yes. Okay. So yeah, the physical compliance of the speaker changes over time. When you break subwoofers in and you push their excursion, what happens is you stretch and flex the glue. Sometimes the material itself flexes into place. There's a certain stiffness that can rest and relax after you've moved it around. Also, I'm going to say, if you live in like warm climates or cold when you're playing anything, depending on the temperature of where you're playing things, it can actually have an effect on the speakers themselves. When you move them and you play them for a while, like even every day, like if you're playing in the winter or if you're playing in the summer it's not a bad thing because it's already warm and loose. But if you're playing from the winter to a nominal listening, you might want to give them extra time. I'm going to say personally, because the temperature and the functional performance of the material when it's cold is not natural. If it warms up, that's when it will become more natural for that device to be Barcad? ALA Barcad. This is a speaker driver. That's how they work. I wish I had something to show like movement, if I had like an amplifier to actually do that. Dawkins says, I built a few speakers myself for fun, but always use pre-made crossovers. I mean, it's easier if you can order them specific to what you need. But having like, if you're using like a kit, then that's pretty cool because you learn more about what's going on with the kit. But yeah, designing your own crossovers is really interesting because you can fine tune the voicing and like sensitivity of like what you want more or less, a crossover point, the way it's sloped. It changes the way that it reacts with the cabinet and your room sometimes. So designing your own crossover is something that I would love to get into and try my hand at. I was tempted to do my own cabinets a while ago. I need to start simple and advance myself into like more and more complex things. Start small, start with like a 5.5 driver and a tweeter, and then go from there. Playing with crossovers is almost more advantageous than changing the cabinet. You know, you can get a lot You can get a lot from learning how to do crossover things. You can respect what brands do on large scales by studying crossover and cabinet building, doing it yourself. Because to whine and complain and look at like brands that say, oh, the prices are raising, we have to do this, we have to do that. But then if you've never built anything yourself, then you don't know how much effort it takes, how careful you have to be, how many steps there are, what kind of man hours and work there is. I don't mean man hours, but you know what I mean. So appreciating how difficult manufacturing is helps to justify or understand the value of a product. I mean, like SVS and Arundel are doing everything sort of um, straight to customer. They don't have a dealer network. I mean, well, SVS kind of does now, but not really. Arendel's moving into another bracket of tower and product. I mean, a lot of other brands, even the amplifiers I'm using, the Orchard Audio amplifiers, they're straight to customer. There's no real dealers for those. So you buy it straight from the company, and the company does their best to keep the price down. But I mean, when certain things change at scale, you're not talking about buying bulk for shittier products. You're buying premium products for a smaller margin. And that's how they can give you that price for something that's way better. I mean, the way that Arundel builds their towers, they're putting a lot of technology into it, but selling direct means the price can be lower. So when they come out with another series, the 1528 coming out soon, you're going to notice that the whole series is going to change. The technology is going to change. And you have to keep in mind that they're able to provide technology without the dealer cost thrown in there. And you're talking about 30% more. In most cases, it's 30%. But even at 20%, 25%, that's a huge increase. I mean, if your speakers are already $5,000, talking about 25% more is a lot of money. I just noticed it started raining outside. That's wild. I didn't think we were supposed to get rain today. You can see rain there through my window a little bit. Yeah, it's my view to the world. So Dawkins says, I usually spend a lot of time choosing drivers to match the crossover I'm planning on using. That's cool. So which drivers or which sites do you go to? And are you using the measurements from the websites to design the crossover, or purchase crossovers based on the QTS and that kind of thing? Frederick Nielsen says, Dolly is better. Change my mind. Better than what? Because I can tell you a number of brands that are better than Dolly. The Dolly Core speakers, the Epic Core 11s, they're good. They make a lot of their own stuff. They've got some pretty good technology, but they're not the best I've ever heard. They're certainly not even at some of the shows I've been to. They're better than SVS, in my opinion, but I don't know if they're better than Arundel. And also, better is a very subjective sort of opinion, expression. So you're going to have to give me a scale. I don't take better or worse really seriously unless I'm given a scale to compare them. And I don't want to change your mind. I'm not into arguing. I don't give a shit. If you like Dolly, then good for you. I like Dolly too. We can all get along. I love them, not gonna lie. I think they are the best Danish speaker and are just better. Yes, I believe, I do believe you there. I know that Danish speakers are great. Like, Buchard are awesome. My personal favorite, I will show you on my other phone because I'm cool like that and I've got multiple devices. Let's stick with Danish speakers. What other Danish speakers do you know and do you like? Also, can I get your thoughts and opinions on a design? Something I designed a while ago. I want to know if people like the way it looks. So I use an application to design speakers. So Mirage Bryston just joined. Hello. What do you guys think about these? Pretty loungy, right? Waveguide tweeter, mid-range woofer. Not bad, right? Screen capture it. Get my eyes in there. I'm just playing around. Um, so my favorite speakers. Let me see. Danish speakers we're talking about, right? Why am I not seeing all of these amazing? Hold on. These recently. I got Dolly 850s. I love them. The design is meh, but sounds amazing. I agree. Dawkin, thank you very much for the design feedback. Those look great. They're okay, but not my taste, to be honest. That's cool, Frederick. Um, that's fine. So, what do you think of this brand? Does everybody know this brand? Mirage says they look great. No one can see. Put knickknacks on top of them. I see cringe when I see stuff on top of speakers. Yeah, 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 yeah. So these are really cool. They have a carbon fiber insert in the side. Let me just see if I can zoom in on that. See, this is somebody else's photos. So there you go. There's carbon fiber inlays on the side of the cabinet. These are, of course, Borson Acoustics. My friends say that they don't like the white. The carbon fiber in the white doesn't look that great, but I think these are amazing. Dolly 40s, no, I don't know them. Not off the top of my head. I have a lot of stuff rattling around here already, but I'm not familiar with Dolly 40s. The big boys that they came out with, these are the T5s. All carbon fiber inserts. These are some of the newest ones that they released. They're going to come in above the O series, I believe. Anyhow, Borson Acoustics are my favorites. They just have something special, and I love the way that they've introduced their technology at a lower price point. So love the black and white. Mirage, thank you. And then yes, Dolly 40s, I'll look them up. I appreciate that. I get some of my actual photos in here. I have so many photos in here that I've downloaded from other people, but none of my own. I don't have really anything on my phone. Everything's on the computer. So this was that's a photo that I took at an audio show recently. So I mean, to show you that I actually have heard them. My favorite speaker right now is the Monitor Audio Hyphens. I wasn't all that impressed with those, to be honest with you. I heard them at a number of shows. I'll show you some photos of those as well. That's essentially what I do. If you guys have not seen my Facebook page or my Instagram page, I take photos and videos of media and hi-fi and all that stuff at all the shows. I've been to many shows and have showcased with a number of brands. So I'm going to try and find the photos from Montreal. Yeah, there you go. So I have heard them. I appreciate what they do. They're a little shouty, like a little forward top end. I mean, I've heard them on the Rotels. They have the amplifier there. So I did think that their forwardness needed to be balanced off with like either the positioning or the room. I've heard them in different rooms. So it was a little bit of I felt like there was a compromise there. They needed to be balanced a little bit better. And then the Epicor 11s, I wish these photos were better, but I didn't have a lot of space to actually stretch out. So I heard them. Morantz versus Denon. I've never heard Morantz, so I can't answer that. Unfortunately, another photo of those giant Macintosh towers, the array. All these photos are on the Facebook page, Instagram page. I should be loading a lot of these photos onto my Instagram just for clicks and views. I say that like I'm searching for clicks and views, but I mean, let's face it, a lot of what we're doing in media a lot of the times it's a lot of hard work, and trying to make a living these days, you know that you need to diversify what you're doing, try to stretch things out as best as possible. And the thing is, I'm doing basically all the media work so far for the most part. I do for free, but I would love it to be a more consistent kind of work. And in order for that to happen, I need support from some of the media. So I can continue getting photos and images of the brand new stuff like what TAD is doing. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Source Point Towers from Andrew Jones are also a favorite. Yes, and Aaron at Aaron's Audio Corner just did the 888s. I think the review is only for Patreons right now, but I'm sure that they will showcase them. They will be showcased flat out in other spaces. I did hear them. Like, I have these that were in the Hegel room at Montreal. And then Exponent recently, I did check those out as well. I don't know where all my Exponent photos are. I have a lot of photos in here, and it should be more organized, but it is difficult to keep up with everything. So let me see if I can find it. I'll try. And the most beautiful speakers I've ever seen are these. They're real. It's not artwork. That's real. Those are Acora Acoustics. I think these were displayed at, I think they were displayed at Expona as well as Florida. Yeah, Acora Acoustics. Granite, exactly. So it's a very, very unique and rare granite. These ones, it's Sunfire. I think it's Sunfire Sunset or something, Skyfire Sunset, something like that. Beautiful, beautiful speakers. I'm still looking for the Expona folder. Forgive me. Ah, here it is. So the Source Point 888s are here somewheres. And then also the Acora Acoustics, the purple ones. Let me show off the purple ones. So these are also real. They're lit up from inside. They're so cool. If you guys haven't hit the like button yet, please do that. Let me know how many people are actually here. Yes, so there they are. The 888s, I heard at Expona, pretty good stuff. I don't think I gave them a fair shot. I wasn't in the room where they were like showcased specifically. So that's unfortunate. I did get, I believe I did get an image with Andrew Jones in the room. I don't remember if I have it in here or not. It's sometimes difficult to capture all those moments and also keep like everything on my phone. I have like 6 or 7 or 4 years of images from shows on the phone. Expona best, this and that. Nope, I don't have them in here. Anyways, just a lot of work. Anyways, I meant to just showcase some. I only wanted to go through my photos in order to reference a couple things, so I apologize for that. Can only hit the button once. Yeah, sorry. I know. True voice of reason, such a supporter. I thank you for that. I really do appreciate it. John Robinson's a new name I'm seeing here. Cool. Have you heard have you used your Arendals with SVS subwoofers or for theater use yet? No, because I don't have a theater. All I have is the 2-channel system. So The best that I can do, John, if you're interested, is I can run subwoofer outputs from the SMSL preamp or integrated amp that I'm using in the other room. You guys want to see that? I can walk with the camera. Please excuse the shaking. I think my phone's been charging enough. So what John's asking about is the SVS bookshelves and the subs used in like a theater setting. So all I have out here is this unit, this SMSL like AO200, which is, we can all agree, it's covered in dust and it's a complete mess. But this is all I'm using out here. So I have the TV, I have my other towers. Those are the monolith towers there. I have the 2 channels set up at the computer. So if I was going to use them for theater, it's not a really fair comparison, right? I don't have an AVR. I sold my AVR. The AVR was down under there, connected to all these speakers. I've got monolith speakers around the back. They're only positioned like that because one of them was over here. But because I sold the theater system, none of these other speakers are connected. It's only the 2 here. So what I could do is run 2.2 out here, put subwoofers in this room, like why split the cable in the back, run a sub over there. But I don't know if that's going to be enough, right? Like that's not a very fair comparison for theater. So I'm not really sure what we would achieve, and I have no way to high pass or cross over any of the towers or bookshelves. So it's really just all open. I don't have the gear right now to do a lot of these demos. So it's kind of unfair, I believe. I like the idea, but the reason why, like I say, and I talk about likes on the video and subscribing to the channel and commenting on videos and watching all my own videos and following along with Instagram. The reason why I say that is precisely for the question that was asked is, have I used my Arendals with the subwoofers in the theater? And I had to sell my theater gear because, you know, that's life. You know, we have to do what we have to do. And the media work doesn't make me any money, so I can't keep doing things that cost money without support. And that's how it works. I'd love to answer those questions, but without the support, I'm just not going to be able to do it. You're going to have to tune into some of those already big channels out there, you know, like businesses out there trying to make their way in the world. And if you're a new business owner, you want to bring clients to your business, but how do you do that when there's already like so many other options? I'm trying to do something a little bit different and offer something a little bit different and bring in an audience in a different kind of way and answer these questions in a way that I could provide some additional information, but it's kind of hard to do. So John's saying I have a full 1723 setup, 13 channels. They sound great. However, in my opinion, they need to be on an amplifier. Yes, well, 100%. Are you running 13 channels from an AVR right now? And may I ask which AVR that is? Because I can only think of 2 that would be capable enough to play them reasonably loud. Even if you have them high passed over to subwoofers, that would be better. But let me tell you, those Orchard Audio amplifiers I'm running them on, like I've got them running monoblock. There's 2 amps there. You see that? These amplifiers really, really bring these towers to life. Now, even if you ran an AVR for your surrounds and heights, you definitely want to put your front towers and center channel on a separate amp. So John's reply, no, I'm using a Marantz 8805A processor with 2 monolith 7x200s. Oh, okay. So the opinion that you're giving is they do need to be on an amplifier because you're running amplifiers and they sound great. Okay. A lot of people say that their opinions are based on something they discovered, and they weren't really satisfied with it. So they're saying, oh, it needs to be at an amplifier because I'm not getting enough power out of it. I need to go to an amplifier. But you're speaking from a position of, I have amplifiers, and that's why I'm saying they're great. Dave listens to hi-fi. What's going on, my man? Cheers and all that good stuff. Everybody raise a glass. Happy post 4th of July. Hopefully nobody blew themselves up. I got rain falling outside my window. It's starting to get humid in here. That really sucks. We're just talking hi-fi and all kinds of business with my friends. Where do they go and cut my forehead when I'm picking at my skin because I'm so bad. Yeah, we're just taking it easy. Cheers to you. Watching from Frankfurt. Frankfurt, that's awesome. I appreciate it. I tried the 4800. John saying, tried the 4800H, 11 channels, not bad. No, you're right. I had the 6700H, and I felt like it was enough because I was only running monolith speakers, but the rear channels, the center, and the heights are all like 81, 83, 84 decibel sensitivity. Oh my God. Wasn't enough. You had to like crank everything up to get that sound out of them, to get that performance out of them. So I know that I've teased already. We're at an hour, 6 minutes here, so I'll probably wrap this up. Please, you guys, comment, like, or share anything else that you've seen on the channel. That would be really, really cool. I appreciate all of it. Like I said, the support in any kind of way, especially engagement. So actually clicking of the button, actually leaving comments, that actually really matters. The subscriptions kind of, you don't have to. My channel is going to be around anyways. You can always come back. But liking and commenting is a big thing. I really appreciate those two things because, one, it shows me that people appreciate it by the like, so it's feedback that I appreciate. And then comments let me know what thoughts or what kinds of ideas, or if I missed something, or if there's a question. It helps kind of build the channel, build the story, build the ideas for the next video, and I can answer or respond appropriately in the next video if you do that. So subscribing is, most people don't anyways. Out of most of the viewers, like 80 or 90% people don't subscribe. That's just how it goes. I wouldn't mind if they did because it shows more appreciation for the channel. But the other two things, writing to me and commenting on things, is the number one thing that I would ask for. So the 6700 HES on monoliths, because their sensitivity was so low, I didn't really feel like it was the kind of sound that I appreciated. But that's more because they're not sensitive speakers, unlike the Arundel Towers. The Arundel Towers are 92 dB sensitive. That's 1723 THX, 92 dB sensitive, which is really good for most receivers on their own. But if you're talking about running 11 speakers on an AVR, there's only so much power that's going to go around. You at least want to power the front three in a system that's demanding like that, or a certain size like that. 2-channel hi-fi for me, yeah, it's easier to do that. You see the setup that I have here where it's 2.2. I've got monoblocks on the towers, 150 watts Class D power. I've got the SVS SB1000 plugged in, and the Arundel Towers all running 2-channel 2.2. And then their configuration in terms of the bass crossover, the subs are playing from about 50 and down because the towers can easily handle 50. They can actually reach down to 35, but because of the room, I wanted to have more sources of air pressure to kind of compensate for the room nodes, like try to fill in those things. Yes, they are Orchard Audio amps. Let me just zoom. It's a very terrible digital zoom. You can kind of see on the top. Make it real messed up. I can walk up there and show you. um, I really like them. I think they sound really great. When I put them in the system, the bass texture came up. The low end was improved a little bit. I mean, obviously now with the SVS sub, it doesn't really matter. But yeah, I really like what Leo has done with Orchard Audio. I think the technology is great. I haven't compared a lot of like ICE modules or Hypex modules. I haven't compared a lot of things that like PS Audio's done or Peachtree Audio or Buckeye or VTV or who else? Jesus, there's so many different brands that are using. Yes, Orchard Audios are GANFET tech. The NAD is also using like Purify modules, which Buckeye uses. Purify modules are really clean. They're really powerful. They've got really great specs. It's kind of hard to say which one's which, like which technology's better, because GANFET still costs a lot. Whereas the established Class D, it's a little cheaper to make, and the real trick comes in the power supply. So if you can nail the power supply, like GANFET power supplies, that's where your money should be going. Daniel Hertz also uses GANFET. I didn't know that. I'm still waiting for a video to come down from my buddy Jay about that. I'm sure that he's got more of an insight into the technology than even I've even heard of. Or are you talking about Daniel Hertz using Purify? Because I don't remember. But John's saying I did go with 2 PSA S3613. Sealed subwoofer, so power sound audio. 4,000 watts RMS, 7 hertz in room. Yeah, that's you're talking about like Scott Newby bass brings us all together type of stuff. Like those guys are crazy with the subwoofers. Even Youthman with his 418s. I can't imagine. I don't have a space even built for that. I'm in an apartment. My neighbors would be at my front door faster than I can get through the intro scene. There's no way. I don't recommend going with 2 of them unless you have large enough room. Yeah. So Power Sound Audio are really good subs. 4,000 watts is a lot of power to put down for 60. What is it? A 16? 3613? I don't remember the size. I'm not familiar with. Anyways, I imagine it's either a 16 or an 18. A lot of them use 18-inch drivers for really low bass and theater, because you want to it's low frequency effect. I want to talk to the crowd about the idea there. Low frequency effect is visceral. It's movement, it's pressure, it's tactile sort of sensation. It's not bass. Bass is like above 30, where you can hear what's going on. 18s are doing a lot of stuff that's 30 and below, 25 and below, 20 and below. So it's two woofers, 2 18s per enclosure, so it's 4 18s. Okay. Well, that's why it's 36. 36 is 18 times 2. The 1-3, I'm not really sure what 1-3 stands for. 1-3 could be something to do with the amp. That's how they name these things. They're not like it's just based on shit that's included in it. Like Martin Logan Electrostatics. I'm gonna break your minds right now. 15 people watching. I don't know who you are. I wish I would get more comments. 15 people, 18 people it says now watching. Martin Logan naming scheme. The reason why Martin Logan, like their electrostatic panels are named like the A11, the A13, or 15A, 13A, 11A, whatever. It's the width of the panel. It's 11 inches wide or 13 inches wide or 15 inches wide. Whatever the name scheme is, the model number is based on how wide the panel is. It's very clever. and not so much, not so much to it. They've listened to hi-fi is saying, do they work for music or do they mess it up? See, that's a really good question, because when people talk about subwoofers in music, they're talking about a transient response. Transient response can blur or muddy up the bass texture, not low frequency, because low frequencies, the bass waves are far enough that you don't really get an effect, or the room would help change things. But if the transient responses are not exact with your towers or bookshelves, you can have like a phasing issue where the woofer's a little bit slow, like the tail end of the signal is not as resilient. It's hard to describe, but it's like a matter of coming back to zero. Like, so when they're moving, you want the woofer to stop. So Class D amps, sealed, lots of power, damping factor, all of those things restrain the movement to just the signal. So you want to have woofers that can do that, whether it's ported, sealed, amped, powerful, whatever the size is. What you're looking for is the movement of the cone to be exact, otherwise what you call distortion. It's a lot for a company to say low distortion, but they never show you the details, right? Like, sure, the car can run 0 to 60 in 2 seconds, but until you see it happen, you're like, but does it really? John's saying they work great for music when crossed over with the Arendals. Keep in mind that most music doesn't have frequencies below 20. Almost no music has frequencies below 20. That's why I said earlier it's a low frequency effect, which is mostly for movies. So you don't need 18s for music. 12s are more than enough for music, like I have. These 12s are plenty for music. They're sealed. They're roughly 300 watts each. It's a relatively small room. I believe that their crossover point and integration with the towers is doing very well. Their power technology, their Now, I'm not really sure about their DSP control, because I know that DSP is going to introduce some kind of delay, whether it's 20 milliseconds. Like, you could do the math with your frequency response and show exactly how off the phase that is. But when you're talking about very transient music, 20 milliseconds is enough to be way off, because you're only talking about a very quick snap or punch or kick drum, and then the frequency's done. It's not 1 second. It's part of a second, a fraction of a second. So like my friend Lars from the audio group Denmark, and in one of his conversations says, like, we don't listen in frequency response. We listen in transient response, which is impulses of sound, where the sound happens and it stops and it's under 1 second. So that's not a full cycle. And the rest of the sound is bouncing off the room around you, like all these surfaces, which is why I've got curtains everywhere. We listen in transient response, because it's just an impulse and it moves very, very quickly. So you want your subs and all of your sound emanating devices to move in accordance with all of that. True Voice of Reason says about Martin Logan, it's on the idea like hand tools. If you're looking for a 10 mil, you don't want to have to reminder, Florida socket. But I mean, like, you're talking about, like it's a measurement. But the thing is, a lot of the towers, a lot of the products, they have other names as well. They have, like, you know what I mean? They don't make it obvious. Like 3613 Power Sound Audio doesn't say 218s. Some of them do say 218s. Like SB1000 doesn't say anything. SB1000 has nothing to do with the speaker itself. If it was SB 1000 and they were tens, then the 10 would be like tens. Okay, cool. And then if it was SB 1200, then the 12 would be like 12 for 12-inch. That would make sense. The SB 16 Ultra is a 16-inch woofer. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, it's a reference point. That kind of makes sense. But when you have like clips saying it's like the RP, RP is reference premiere, 8000 is probably 8-inch woofers. I don't know. But why 8000? Why not just 8? The RP8, RP7, the RF7 3s, version 3s. Like, it's, I don't know. It's a little weird. Anyhow, listen, I have some nature grumbling going on right now. I appreciate all of you for being here. Thank you very much for listening to this live stream. I will have to cut it short or cut it long. It's an hour and 20 minutes as is. I do appreciate you being here, coming in to check everything out. True Voice of Reason, always a supporter. John Robinson, nice to see you. We had Dakin in here, 74, something like that. Let me scroll up and get that right. Yep, Dakin 74 was here. Nice to see you. Mirage Bryson, always a pleasure. Dave listens to Hi-Fi from Frankfurt. That's awesome, coming in with some information and checking stuff out. Briggs subs closer than... Yes, that's a good idea. Bring the subs closer so the millisecond delay is compensated by their physical position, but then you have to think about where in the room they are, because the room is going to dictate where the nulls are. So it becomes this balance of phase control, placement. That's why sound and sound calibration is a very, very big deal now, because the processors take care of all of that for us. But if you don't have one, or your preamp doesn't have one, you're talking about a gated community for good sound, and I think that's shit. We just need to figure it out. So it's a multiplier, just like some politicians. When PSA are crossover properly, Arendals, they barely will play. Keep in mind, I use mine in theater. Yes, for music, you don't really need 18s. This is a good discussion. Have a good night. Until next time. Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Hopefully this video does inspire more people, depending on who sees it. I'm hoping to keep conversations open. This is what I do. This is why my channel's a little bit different. Sometimes I go live. Sometimes I'm at an audio show. Sometimes I'm out at stores. Sometimes it's a sound demo. I'm going to be editing a four-way sound comparison soon. But I appreciate you. Thank you for watching this channel. My video, staying tuned, all of that stuff really matters. I appreciate it. Making dreams happen one stream at a time. Thank you for being here. Have a great weekend, a good night, a safe journey wherever you are, and I'll see you in the next video. Cool. All right. Have a great night, everybody. Take care.